Hi everyone, good evening. Here in Bali now, it's already an evening. I hope wherever you are, you could feel blessed and safe. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Flora, and I would like to share a message that hopefully could improve our lives so we could coexist in this planet Earth more joyfully and happily. I am currently in a challenge that I give myself, which is to create one video a day, two video actually, because I make Indonesian and English version. Uh, my intention is to grow my YouTube channel so I also can get supported. Um, so please, if it's in your power to subscribe to my channel and like this video to help the algorithm, I will be very thankful if you do that. And today's topic is about fear, about how we need to soften ourselves, and we need to see our fear or other people fear that we can see and sense with compassion, with more love rather than you know what is that, humiliate this or shame it in others or in ourselves, because fear is one of the biggest block that we have in our life. It's practically a jail. Okay, so before I talk further about this topic, I want to introduce myself and welcome everyone who for the first time looking at this video. My name is Flora Marcella. You can call me Flo. I'm from Indonesia. I'm a graphic designer, singer, songwriter. Basically, I create anything that I love, including this YouTube channel and this video. Hopefully, I could share a message and inspire people to also pursue the life that they love, um, and be happier. Okay, that's my intro. So, going back to the topic of fear, I feel like throughout my life, uh, I have so many fear that at the beginning, when I was like in my youth and adolescent, when I was in my 20s, I didn't know that this fear is exists because I pretty much numb and I don't have connection to myself, my own identity. I don't know who I really am except from the definition that people put on me. And apparently I use a lot of addiction to protect myself from experiencing fear and terror that actually exists within my soul. And this fear is inherited from my ancestor, from my mother, from my grandmother, from my great grandmother, and all the way to the I don't know who, when. But I carry a lot of fear inside of me, living in this world as a woman. um, we as a gender in general for many years has been treated like a second class citizen, I think. And I think a lot of people still have a lot of beliefs that it's quite wrong about women. And yeah, even like the story in the Bible where women are being blamed, women are not allowed to speak up, women have to, bow down. A lot of beliefs and expectation on how a woman should be. But I don't want to talk specifically about women in this video. I just want to talk about fear in general. So I feel like since we are a kid, we already being bombarded with a lot of fear projection from our environment. Maybe our parents always afraid about how they're going to support our life, like financial fear, and also worry when we're sick, and also worry about things that happening in the world, politically, financially, and many things. So fear of not having enough, so many fear that back then I didn't know that the fear exists. I only be able to get in touch with these emotions after I become more sensitive. I sensitize myself by doing a lot of meditation and breathing, and also eating plant-based meal, because eating meat is also working as a numb drugs. Yeah, eating meat help you to block your sensitivity and intuition. That's from my experience. So I think everyone in this world, specifically women, carry a lot of fear because we are already surrounded by a lot of information about things that we have to be worried about and fear about since we are a kid. And there's a lot of, for example, rape case, sexual assault story, yeah, that kind of news, and also something that might be experienced by people that we know or by ourselves, and that cause a lot of fear. On top of that, how the society see the abuse and the assault itself also, create a lot of fear. But there's no point of honoring the fear and thinking or talking about it and being worried together and sharing the fear and spread the fear, because it just make the energy of fear bigger, and it cause people to freeze and not taking action. Like, for example, the reason why I didn't speak up about sexual assault that I experienced when I was a kid, or the reason why I didn't sing and express myself and create this video, something like this, and speak up sooner than I hope I could be, is because of fear. And this fear is actually experienced in me as a body sensation, as a pain. And this pain is something that everyone in the world, I guess, being taught to avoid. But actually, the pain itself is something that we need to embrace and something we need to hold dear, so we could change this pain into a higher form of energy, which is love. And because a lot of people in the world, I think, currently carrying a lot of fear inside their soul, and they don't know how to release it or how to uh, change the vibration of fear and raise it into love. That's why we as a collective human being projecting this fear to the environment, and we co-create a lot of, um, what is that, misfortune events, disaster, global warming, war. So I think in order for us to create a more positive and more loving environment, heaven on earth, we need to be able to embrace the fear that we have within our soul and start to sit with it and transform the fear that we have into love. And to be able to do that, I think it's really important for us to educate ourselves in how to do that. What I do back then is, when I noticed that I carry a lot of fear, and that the fear that I have inside of me being projected to the environment around me, and that's what's create the experience that I have in my life. I just like decided that, God, I don't want to be afraid anymore. I want to be able to project a better feelings and emotion to the environment and to the universe, so this world could be a much happier and beautiful place. And yeah, I just hope back then that I could be free from fear and be the person that, God want me to be. So I learned so much. I spent a lot of time listening to a lot of video. I just search in YouTube, like, about fear, how to process fear, how to let go of fear. And yeah, I learned quite a lot, and I want to suggest you to do the same, because it's really nice to have a lot of input and tips. So personally, what I know about fear is that fear uh, is a result of uh, lack of knowledge and lack of truth and lack of love. So there might be an experience that our ancestor experienced, or that we experience, where we are being lied to, or we are being abused and we're being hurt. And that lie, that abuse, and that hurt create in us an response that meant to protect us. So when the similar things happening again, we can run away from it, or be able to handle it better, so we could sustain ourselves and to protect ourselves. So I think the creation of fear itself is a way of coping mechanism to protect um, ourselves, our well, I heard it from Matthias. I guess he said that when people are angry, which is anger is a sign that someone is really really afraid and doesn't really want to feel and embrace the fear, so they get angry instead. the anger itself is it's a way to protect the last bit of self-love that they have within them. So actually we get angry and afraid because we want to protect and sustain ourselves, and we want to, you know, like protect us. Basically it's like an animal trying to grow and and trying to shoo the threat away. However, a lot of that fear are created um, in an environment that is quite dangerous maybe back then. For example, when our ancestor living in the wilderness, and then they have their fear was to be attacked by wild animal, or to not be able to find food, because back then they still don't have farming technology, so they depend on the nature to survive. And then that fear survival, the fear of wild animal get inherit to their children, and until it become also a part of our genetic. And nowadays we become like always afraid that we will not have foods, and we will get attacked by wild animal, by lion or by snake. Well, actually they, if we don't have that fear, probably they will not attack us because they are also part of environment, and they are responding to our our emotion. So we are projecting our emotion towards them. If we have a lot of love towards them, then they will show love to us, and if we have a lot of fear towards them, they will be show a lot of fear. And usually for wild animal, when they are really afraid, they will attack. And that also happened to dogs and cat, guys. So yeah. And then also, for example, when our ancestor might be in the condition of war, and where there is a genocide or mass rape, so you know, a lot of fear, which is an energy in our body, in our energetical body, that got frozen and stuck inside of our body. And we don't, you know, we don't allow the processing, we don't allow the fear to be experienced. So it's stuck in our body, and it create a lot of disease, it create a lot of misfortune in our life. And it it we inherited it to our children. And that's the accumulation of everyone fear in this world create this world pattern and this world matrix. The matrix is a compilation of pattern pattern energetical pattern, thought patterns. So yeah, a lot of people, like for example, saying that matrix is, you know, we live in a matrix of control, that where we are being controlled by an organizations of the world, like secret organization. But actually the reason why the matrix now is the matrix of control and fear is because the majority of people in this world are keep uploading fearful news, spreading fear. They are keep honoring the fear instead of processing it. So from this video, I want to invite you, friends, to start start facing your fear, start saying it out loud, and process it internally, rather than just sharing it to your friends and talking about it, because talking about it will not change the fear energetically. We really need to work on it in an energetical and emotional level. We really need to let go of our addiction and distraction that help us to, you know, make us believe that we don't have any fear. Well, actually we have a lot, and usually we use a lot of food, a lot of alcohol, a lot of substance, a lot of even just like emotional addiction, such as we always spend a lot of time with people and then with social media as well. So um, we really need to get to know our fear, but I think we don't have to work that hard, because in our daily life the universe will constantly reflect to us and create events that will trigger our fears anyway. So if we see the news, if we come face to face with a situation that that will trigger our fear, like recently my fear is mostly about money and finance. So yeah, I have to spend a lot of money. Well, I don't make enough, so I have to borrow some, and it trigger a lot of fear within me, and I will just be patient with myself, and I just try to spend a lot of time every day, as much as I can, to sit down with this fear and try to find out what is behind this fear, because usually behind this fear there is a need that we have, that we are so afraid that it will not get met. So um, yeah, and what I do is, by not fighting the fear, by not avoiding the fear, by not trying to pretend that I'm brave, but my way is by really surrender and admitting that I'm afraid, and I believe in God, and that's why I always pray and ask God to help me to be brave and go through this fear. And I always pray to God that God will hold my hand and help me go through the uncomfortable emotion to find what is the core of this fear. Like for today, I find like uh, a very uncomfortable sensation here in my solar plexus chakra. The trigger is, I think, um, that I constantly being messaged by people who offer me um, money, and who also threaten me that um, that that I have a debt that I haven't paid. Well, actually, I already paid all the bills, and then it feels like I was being abused and threatened, and that feelings is something that I don't know the context about. That's why probably it's a fear that I inherited from my ancestor, that probably they were being scammed, probably they are being forced to spend money on something that they don't, like being manipulated by people, or being, I don't know, forced to give something that actually theirs. So I will just lying down on my bed and take a deep breath. I already share about the breathing techniques, so that's basically my approach to deal with any uncomfortable situation. So before I react on anything, I will just breathe first until I feel like I am calm, and I can be clear about what is the problem and what is the solution, and I don't do things like fast and harshly, so yeah, that's what I want to share, to be compassionate with yourself who have a lot of fear, and to be more understanding towards other people who have a lot of fear. For example, my usually all our older generation have more fear than the generation below that, so we just have to be more not passion. I think that that is a forced situation. I mean, like, if other people fear triggered in us something that we are afraid to feel, it means that we have fear that we have to work ourselves. So my message is to look into yourself and try to soften to your fear and allow it to be experienced physically, so it could be released. Because after I experienced it myself, I used to have a lot of fear, that a lot of happening even that happened to me, that triggered in me fear. And before I react to that situation, I always take time to go to my room and just to meditate. And after I meditate and just breathing and focus on my body that feel tense because of that fear, usually I can see the situation differently, and I can see the situation more clearly without a filter of fear. So for example, like, this fear is create like a gray filter in front of anything that is actually pretty normal, and make it looks as scarier than it's what it actually is. So after I get through the feelings, then I will take action, that something that I used to be afraid of. For example, back then I was afraid of uploading a video. So I was afraid at the beginning, but I just decide to upload one, and after I upload that video, I feel a lot of fear, and I feel I think a lot of negative things, and I just try to quiet my mind and focus on the fear that I experience on my body and breathe through it. And after that, the fear just go, guys. And I could just feel more free, and I feel like I release myself from the jail that I create myself. Not that I create myself, that might be created by my environment, by my parents or by my ancestor. So that's all. I wish you courage to face every emotions, because that's pretty much it, guys. That's the work. We need to be able to embrace every emotions without fear, no matter what the emotion is, because that's how we experience our life. And once we are not afraid of feeling anything, then we will be free, and I think the world will be a happier and much more beautiful place. I hope this video could be useful, and see you tomorrow. Bye.